So, hi guys, and welcome to another rapid game. And this time we play against a guy with a rating of around 1600 leeches, and we just opened with the Sicilian defense, and he's playing a slightly um, strange move here, bishop c4. This might well be a good move in the Italian, but here I can easily frustrate this bishop, and yeah, it's not the same. The bishop is not having great impact here as my pawn is on e6. Okay, he opens the center anyway, and I think as usual in the Sicilian we just take, and if he recaptures I will just develop naturally with the knight, bringing out more pieces. Also here I don't have any opening knowledge because bishop c4 was just quite a strange move. So let's see our options. There are already some tactical targets, and we see there is a fork which would give us the pair of bishops immediately. And if there is nothing better, this is not such a bad point to start with. Also I have this attack, but I think he can just go back and c2 is protected, so why not this fork? He needs to protect his stuff, and most likely I will just take. Okay, queen b3. Let's see if we have something even better than taking. There's also a tactical target. This pawn here is unprotected, but I cannot really get there as g5 is protected. So if I take here, he will take. I of course also moved my knight a bit too often, but still I gained something long term, something static, which is the pair of bishops, and this should give me quite good play. Also this bishop can be very strong because he has no light square bishop left, and he cannot really trade my bishop if it's fighting from the long diagonal. So I will just take it. After this I will maybe play something like a6 b5. Yes, I think that's decent. Also, it's worth considering playing b5 and increasing my speed of development, but I think it's not yet necessary to sack a pawn, so I will just play something very, very standard here, developing the bishop to the b7 diagonal, where it's really huge. Okay, he kind of wants to go here maybe with the bishop, but maybe it's just not good because I have a double attack again. We see some tactical targets, unprotected pieces, and I could attack them both, but still he could play e5, but this might weaken some other spots. Also, it's a question if I can start with b5 and after this just trade the queens and play a very pleasant ending. I will start with this one. If queen here, might just take bishop b7, rook c8, my pieces come out quite naturally. Okay, he's retreating, but now maybe he's in trouble after this because those two are hanging and there is no longer e5 possible because f4 drops, which looks quite natural. And okay, bishop c1 is of course very sad if he needs to play that. Let's see what he's coming up with. Yes, he actually needs to defend the pawn. Maybe it's best to do this, even though it's of course not what he really would like to. Maybe I can attack this pawn now as it's weak and there is no real comfortable way to protect it. G3 would be quite awkward as it would weaken some light squares on the long diagonal. He's doing it anyway, but I will attack this long diagonal here, and he's having already now a lot of weaknesses. Okay, playing f3, but again f3 is kind of weakening his king's position, as we also saw in the game before, and we might exploit those targets later. Now it's maybe already an option to open the center because we are just better developed, and he needs kind of keep it closed, but it's not so easy. And if he takes, we would take on d3, and he has a weak pawn on d3, and our bishop on d5 would be quite great, so let's go for it. Okay, he's playing knight c3, but I was intending to just pin it and then increase the pressure, bring all the pieces, and maybe finally take there. Okay, now we could consider, can we already take, and take? This might win a pawn, but we need to be a bit careful as our king is still stuck and he might get some counterplay. But this is something we should really calculate, as it's something we could really win material with. So let's see, I take here, he's taking there with the bishop, I take here. He cannot recapture because then I will just take on e4, winning his rook. And if he moves the queen elsewhere, then maybe things are not that easy. Maybe I just develop. And if he castles, I'm also ready to castle. Also, I need to pay attention, can he come in here? So once again, in slow version that everybody can follow, takes, takes, takes. Maybe he can come here, preventing me from castling. This might be more critical, but still I think there should be something I can do. But it's a bit dangerous. Also, this bishop can come here next. I actually don't, I'm not sure, honestly. Maybe I could take here first, because then there is no queen d6. Let's consider this one. I take here first. If he takes with the pawn, then I think I can take there, and it's an improved version. If he takes with the knight, I could take d2 still, and if he takes with the knight, then I can take on d3. Yes, it looks good too. So I will actually start taking on e4, as he has fewer options, and I think, taking is of course something critical, and either take here or take here can cause him the biggest problems, because he's having a weakness right now. So we should not waste time, and he is just recapturing with the pawn. But now maybe this is already winning. Takes, takes, and takes with the bishop, or maybe also take with the queen. If I take with the queen, takes with the queen, takes with the bishop, he will take here, I will take his rook, he will take my rook, but maybe I have the chance to trap his bishop while he cannot trap mine. That looks very good, but also maybe it's even better to take, and take with the bishop. Maybe he then has queen to d4, I take, he takes there. But also this should be quite hopeless for him. So I will take here first and then make the decision how to take on e4, because both look very good. Now it's just the question how to take, and this is a critical moment, so we should really calculate accurately, because it might be just the last decision we need to make in the game. Personally, I have a preference to take with the queen if both work, because with trading the queens I eliminate all counterplay. So I will try this move first, because if I take with the bishop, there might be also something like queen d6, bishop b4, and mating ideas to consider, which I don't really like to do if it's not necessary. So let's calculate. Takes, I think he needs to take, because otherwise I take here anyway and take on h1. So take, take, take. I think his rook is lost. So what could he do? He could consider knight to f3, but in this case I at least could play knight f6, being really a solid extra pawn up. And so I think the critical line is bishop takes g7. I take his rook, he takes my rook, and I will play f6. Then he might castle. And it's not so easy for me to organize king f7 and knight to e7. Well, it still is. Maybe it's just the way. I go king f7. Even if he gives a check, I play knight e7 and the bishop is kind of stuck, but he has this move bishop g7, and I cannot take because my knight would also drop. Maybe I can just close this diagonal. It's not that clear, I think. Maybe he has some counterplay trying to get the bishop out. So let's go for this one. This is winning material, I think, for sure. And let's see, is this really so dangerous, this queen d6? I will just take the rook if he's going there. He is actually not threatening mate. So I will go for this one. I think it's not dangerous. There is no mating attack. My rook is always protected, so I don't even need to care about any rook winning ideas by white. And if this idea, then okay, I at least can take the rook and have a check on e4, but here, okay, I will just take, and I think here's nothing now. I will just develop, and also could have considered to trade queens before. It would be maybe more natural, but then he could have taken and take on g7. Okay, now let's just take. I think he has no checks, no threats. He could prevent me from castling, but I will just block the d file, and with the queen alone there is nothing. Okay, he attacks my my bishop, and now I should not go here as he would take it. But yes, let's just drop the bishop to... Let's put it actually here, because he cannot really take it due to some counter tactics. I think that's safest. And next move we will castle. If it prevents it, I will just play queen e7. Now I just need to have a look at the time, but I think that should be enough. I will take the knight for sure, so I can pre-move this one, and then it's just a rook up. Just need to finish the game with 17 seconds, which might be the toughest part from now, but yeah, that's it for the instructive part. Let's just finish off the game. Castles, bring the next piece into the game. I prefer this rook here from a8, because then it's less likely that there is any stale back rank mate. Okay, I take another rook. I will bring the queen over, and this should be no trouble converting. Trade the queens, then attack with the two rooks. Okay, he gives me his queen also. I will give a check, and it's gonna be made in a few moves. So b4 check. It's not a check, but now his king is open. It's made in a few moves, check and mate. So that's it for the game. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.